Hey man, let's talk about something that most men feel but few ever put into words. You've been there. The overwhelming magnetic pull of a woman's attention, her body, her energy. It's addictive, and when you're in it, you swear it's love. But what if I told you that a large part of that experience isn't love at all? It's strategy. It's a psychological dance, a biological trap, so well disguised as pleasure that most men walk into it willingly, smiling, and by the time you realize what you've walked into, you're already in chains. This isn't about hating women. This is about exposing the unconscious weapon that modern women use without even understanding the power of it, their sexuality. The vagina trap, the agenda behind the allure. And if you don't learn to see it, you'll confuse your own destruction for desire. The truth is simple. A woman's sexual energy is her leverage. From biology to culture, everything has taught her, directly or indirectly, that her body holds the keys to power. And you've been trained to chase it, validate it, die for it. Wars have been fought for it. Empires have fallen over it. But in today's world, it's not swords and shields being used. It's apps, it's attention, it's validation disguised as courtship. A woman doesn't need to seduce a man with depth anymore. All she has to do is exist, with a few filters and the right outfit, and men will line up to offer their soul. That's the trap, not the physical part, but what it represents. When you give your mind, your self-worth, and your purpose away just because a woman shows you her body, you're no longer a man. You're a puppet. Hypergamy fuels the entire mechanism. Understand this, she wants the best man she can get, not the kindest, not the most loyal, but the man with the most value in the current marketplace. And if you don't know your worth, she'll use your desire against you. She'll extract your time, your energy, your attention, all while keeping sex as the dangling carrot. The closer you get, the more hoops she builds. And if you jump through them, she loses respect. Because deep down, she doesn't want the man who's willing to beg. She wants the man who doesn't need her. But here's the sinister part. Her body will keep you close, even while her mind plans your exit. That's the trap. You think she's loyal because she's sleeping with you, but her hypergamy is already scanning for upgrades, silently. You ever notice how differently a woman treats you before sex versus after? Before, she's sweet, attentive, almost submissive. After, the shift begins. The moment she feels she has you, emotionally, physically, spiritually, she starts pulling back, testing, withholding. Why? Because the power dynamic has changed. You gave her what she wanted, your energy, your focus, your chase. And now that you're invested, she holds the cards. She becomes the prize, and you become the addict. This is the vagina trap in real time, making you feel like the reward is her, when in reality, the reward was always supposed to be you. What makes this so dangerous is how invisible it is. Most men don't even realize they've been caught until they're drained. They don't see it when they cancel plans to be with her, when they stop chasing their purpose, when their moods start revolving around whether or not she texts back. Slowly, piece by piece, she becomes the center of their life, and they call it love. But love isn't obsession. Love isn't dependency. What you're experiencing is psychological submission to a biological spell, and unless you snap out of it, she'll keep weaving it with words, looks, touches, until your masculinity is completely eroded. Let's go deeper. Why does this work so effectively? Because most men are operating with a void inside them, a lack of self-approval, a desperate craving for validation, especially from women. And women know this intuitively. She doesn't have to study psychology to understand that a man who puts her on a pedestal is a man who can be controlled. So she amplifies the bait. She plays the perfect girl, the angel, the sexual goddess. And just when you're hooked, she switches, she withdraws, creates distance, confusion. Now you're chasing not just the woman, but the feeling she gave you. You become a lab rat, pressing a button, hoping for another hit of pleasure. And that, my brother, is how men become slaves. The real agenda here isn't conscious. Most women aren't sitting in a dark room plotting your demise. It's deeper than that. It's instinctual, generational, embedded into their DNA by centuries of survival-based mating. They select based on strength, not kindness, stability, not dreams, dominance, not compliance. And if they sense weakness, even emotional weakness, their desire evaporates. It's brutal, but it's nature. And the man who confuses emotional availability with attractiveness is the man who gets discarded after he opens up. Because while she says she wants vulnerability, what she really wants is emotional security, yours, not your breakdowns, your stillness. You cannot break out of the vagina trap until you stop needing female approval. That's the starting point. You stop chasing and you start building. You shift your focus from how do I get her to how do I become undeniable. You train your body, you grow your mind. You elevate your standards. You build a mission so powerful that even the most seductive woman feels lucky to be part of it. That's when the game changes. That's when you flip the script. Because now, you're no longer being lured, you're being chosen on your terms. Most women have never had a man look at them, not with lust, but with clarity, with detachment, with that piercing gaze that says, I see through the performance, show me your soul. That's when the illusion breaks. That's when the mask falls, because you're not distracted by her curves. You're not hypnotized by her smile. You're present, grounded, unshakable, and suddenly, she doesn't feel in control anymore. She feels seen, and that terrifies her, because now, she has to be real. When you stop giving free validation, you start commanding respect. You don't compliment her just because she looks good. You don't flood her DMs. You don't jump when she calls. You stay centered. You make her earn your attention, not because you're playing games, but because you value your energy. And when a woman senses that, her desire activates, not because you chased, but because you didn't. That's the paradox. The less you seek her, the more she seeks your approval, but only if it's rare, only if it's earned. Most men give validation like it's water freely, constantly, desperately, without ever asking themselves what it's really costing them. Every "you're so beautiful," every good morning text, every heart eye emoji is a drop of energy pulled from your masculine core. And what do you get in return? Maybe a few seconds of her attention, maybe a dopamine hit. But in the long run, you're teaching her that your approval is cheap, that you're emotionally available without standards. And the moment she senses that, the moment she realizes she's your center of gravity, she stops valuing you. That's the game, man. She only chases the man who makes her feel like his attention is scarce, his time is sacred, and his validation is earned through presence, not given through need. You ever notice how the guys who don't chase get all the interest? The ones who are slightly aloof, mysterious, unavailable. The ones who don't care if she replies or leaves. That's not a coincidence, that's biological. Women are addicted to emotional tension. They're drawn to the unknown. And when you pull away, not as a tactic, but as a way of life, you activate a deeper part of her psychology, the part that wants to earn you. And here's the thing, the trap only works on men who are begging to be chosen. But when you choose yourself, when you radiate purpose, when your energy is no longer seeking female approval, you become the prize she can't stop thinking about. The modern dating world runs on one currency, attention. And women are the gatekeepers of it. They know it, they feel it, and they play with it like a cat playing with a mouse. She'll breadcrumb you with a compliment, a seductive photo, a flirty text, just enough to keep you engaged, just enough to keep you in orbit. And if you fall for it, if you reward that behavior with more attention, more effort, more energy, you're confirming that you can be manipulated, that you're emotionally open to being trained. You're not a man anymore, you're a subject in her kingdom. And that's where the trap becomes a prison. Masculine energy doesn't chase, it attracts, it doesn't convince, it commands. And the more grounded you are, the more magnetic you become. Not because you're trying, but because you're aligned. You walk into a room and people feel it. She feels it, and now her entire plan starts to glitch, because her usual games don't work on you. Her seduction hits a wall. Her just friends plan doesn't hook you. Her passive aggression doesn't shake you. That, my brother, is the moment you become dangerous, not to her but to the system that raised her to think she could trap a man with sexuality alone. Women test men relentlessly, not because they're evil, but because they're wired to detect strength. And every test you fail, by seeking approval, over-explaining, over-pursuing, is a silent red flag. You'll never hear her say it out loud, but the respect meter in her head drops. She might still sleep with you. She might still laugh at your jokes. But deep inside, she knows you're not the man who can lead her. She knows you're not the man she can surrender to. And once that realization settles in, the connection dies, quietly, slowly, inevitably. That's why you must never give a woman more validation than she earns, because once she stops respecting you, it's already over. The scariest part is how many men build their entire identity around a woman's approval. They chase her love like it's oxygen. They measure their worth based on how she treats them, and when she pulls away, they collapse. That's not masculinity. That's emotional servitude. And it's why the vagina trap works so well, because most men don't have a mission. They don't have a life outside of her. So when she becomes the goal, she becomes the weapon, the reward, the punishment, the obsession. But when you build a life so rich, so fulfilling, that a woman becomes an addition, not a necessity, that's when you become untrappable. Never confuse sex with power. Just because she gives you her body doesn't mean she's giving you her respect. A woman can sleep with a man she despises. A woman can sleep with a man she pities. A woman can sleep with a man just to control him. The real question is this: does she admire you? Does she trust your leadership? Does she feel safer in your silence than she does in another man's compliments? Because if not, you're not winning, you're just getting crumbs. And the more you take those crumbs as trophies, the deeper you fall into the illusion that being sexually desired is the same as being emotionally respected. So what's the antidote? What breaks the spell? Detachment. Intentional, masculine detachment. You train your nervous system to not react. You train your mind to stop seeking her. You anchor yourself in purpose. You become so internally full that her presence becomes a bonus, not a lifeline. And when she senses that, when she feels that you don't need her attention, her body, her validation to be fulfilled, that's when the dynamic flips. That's when she starts chasing. Not because you played her, but because you finally stopped playing yourself. There's a darkness in female nature, not evil, not malicious, but primal. Women test, women select, women discard. It's survival, it's hypergamy. And if you don't understand that, you'll keep getting blindsided. You'll keep getting hurt. You'll keep thinking she's different, only to watch the same pattern repeat. But once you see it, really see it, you become immune. You stop taking her words as gospel. You stop falling for the manipulation. You see the performance, the costume, the agenda, and instead of reacting emotionally, you observe, calmly, confidently, with a quiet strength that terrifies the unworthy. Here's the truth that most men don't want to accept. The more you seek her approval, the less she respects you. The more you try to prove your worth, the more she doubts it. The moment you need her, you lose her. It's brutal, but it's real. Because women don't fall for men who chase. They fall for men who choose themselves, who choose their path, who move with such conviction that a woman has no choice but to align or step aside. That's the hidden trap. When a woman senses your emotional dependency, she loses the very feeling that made her attracted to you in the first place. Your desire to please becomes your downfall. Your validation becomes her burden. And now she's no longer drawn to your presence. She's repelled by your neediness. And when that shift happens, there's no turning back. Because the man she respected is gone, replaced by a version of you that's constantly asking, am I enough? And in her world, if you have to ask, you're not. Brother, stop trying to impress her. Stop performing, stop bending. The moment you break that pattern and return to your edge, your solitude, your focus, you reclaim the power that was never hers to begin with. And when she sees that version of you, the one who doesn't explain, doesn't apologize for being grounded, doesn't flinch when she withholds love, that's when she either elevates or evaporates, and either outcome is a win for you. Your job is not to decode her mixed signals. Your job is not to fix her confusion. Your job is not to outplay her games. Your job is to build your kingdom, to rise so powerfully in your own masculine essence that you no longer seek to escape into a woman's approval. And when you do that, the trap breaks. Because now, she's not leading the dance, you are. She's not the source of meaning, you are. And that right there is what scares the average woman, a man who doesn't need her to validate his existence. Every time you withhold validation, you reclaim a piece of your masculinity, not out of bitterness, not out of spite, but out of truth. Because a woman's body was never the prize, you are. Your presence, your direction, your clarity. And when you start treating yourself like the reward, so does everyone else, including her. So remember this, brother. The vagina trap only works on the man who hasn't learned to govern himself. But the man who's mastered detachment, the man who walks with purpose, the man who doesn't need a woman to feel whole, he's the one she can't control. He's the one who sees the agenda and stays still. He's the one who smiles, not because he's seduced, but because he's sovereign. And that man, that's who you're becoming. One step, one breath, one truth at a time.